Hi and welcome to Outwell. Here we're going to give you some hints and some tips on how to pitch and pack away the Hollywood Freeway tall from our Smart Air touring collection. What we'll do is we'll just take it out of the bag and show you how to get started. So we have a few various different ways of attaching the tent to the vehicle. We can use the Velcro straps, which are pre-attached at the material at the back of the tent here, and that can be attached to any roof rails that may be on your vehicle. We also supply a long steel pole which can go through the pole sleeve at the back of the material, which can then be used to attach to the vehicle using sucker clamps, which should be available from any good accessory shop. You also have the possibility of attaching the tent to the vehicle using the beading, which is already pre-attached to the material of the tent, and that can be directly attached to the vehicle, or you can use a figure of 8 conversion kit, again which should be available from all good motorhome accessory shops. Finally, the other way of attaching the tent to the vehicle is by simply pulling the excess material over the roof, which is actually the style that we'll now show you how to do. So to be able to take the material over the roof, a good tip here is actually to use the upright steel poles, which just look like this, which come with the tent, and we'll attach them to the back here so that we can get the height over the vehicle, and then we'll just guy line the tent out at the back there to hold it in place. So now that we've taken the material over the top of the vehicle and we've pegged that into place, it's now time to inflate the tent. A good tip here is just to pull the tent forward a little bit away from the vehicle, and then we'll open up the front doors, and that should make it a little bit easier to inflate. Inflating the tent is really easy. You'll see here that we have an air in valve, so just underneath this bit of material is where you'll find the valve to attach the pump. What you will find is that we also have the air out valves here. An important point is just to make sure that the valve is in this position here, which means that it's locked, so that when you start to inflate the tent, the air is not going to come out of the tubes. So attaching the pump is very simple. All we have to do is just undo this cap on the valve here and attach the pump, and it's ready to be inflated. Just a couple of pointers here. Just make sure that the hose to the pump is attached on the inflate side as opposed to the deflate side. And then you'll also just see that there is a manometer on top of the pump here. So just a reminder that this can be pumped up between 8.7 and 11.6 psi, which is 0.6 to 0.8 bar. So once you've inflated your drive-away awning, all we're going to do is just make sure that we close the front doors and just pull the tent forward slightly so that we can then peg at the back of the tent next to the vehicle. So here we're just going to use one of the black pegs at the pegging point at the back here, and ideally we want to get the material close to the vehicle, so just pull the tent back like this and peg just underneath like this. So once we've pegged the back, all we're going to do is just take the front corner of the drive-away awning here, we're going to pull that forward and peg that into place. Just remember that it's the steel pegs for the grey pegging points on the corners here. So once the tent is pegged in 4 corners, we're just going to take the front pole here, which will create this front canopy, and put that into position. Then we'll just open up the doors and go inside to show you an important detail with the valves that are inside the tent. you can see now that we're inside the tent, and an important point here is just at the top of the tent you'll find that we have these valves here. Now what we want to do is just simply switch these to an off position like this here, and what that does is just separates all the tubes into individual tubes. Once that's done, we're just going to close over the doors again and peg out all the pegging points on the tent along the bottom and take out all the guy lines and put them into position as well. So just at the top here you'll see that we have this strap, so if you need to adjust the material we can just quite simply do so just by pulling down on the strap like this. So at the back of the tent is where you'll find the link access zone, which is where we are going to attach the ground sheet, and we'll just show you how to do that. So now we're going to give you some hints and some tips on how to pack down the tent and get it back into its bag. You can see that we've already detached it from the vehicle and we've taken up all of the guy lines and most of the pegs. We've just left the four corners in. But we've also left all the doors open so that when the tent drops down, all the air that's trapped inside can easily escape. Taking the tent down is really easy because each tube, as I mentioned earlier, has got its own outlet valve. So all we need to do is just open them up and you'll see what happens next. An important point to remember here when you're taking the tent down is just to open all of your shut-off valves again so that when the tent comes down, it all comes down in one. So as I say, all we're going to do is just put these back to the open position. So you can see there that getting the tent to this stage is very, very simple indeed. Now all we have to do is just fold it up to make sure that it gets back into the bag, and we'll just show you how to do that now. So once you've folded it to this sort of size, what we're going to do is just roll the tent towards the valves themselves so that when we're rolling it up, you're pushing all of the air that's remaining in the tubes out of the release valves. So there you have it then, that's all of our hints and tips for pitching and packing away the Hollywood Freeway Tall from our Smart Air touring collection. Thanks very much for watching.